Hi, it's Jamil with Jamil Wellness Counseling, and I wanted to make just a short video about chanting because I realized I'm incorporating that in my yoga practice, which I do, but I didn't explain hardly any of it. And why chanting in Sanskrit? So, a couple of different things that not only the literature shows, but that I've personally experienced. When you chant in a language that's not your native language, the mind has less of a chance or opportunity to follow the words and go off into thought. So there's that, and then Sanskrit specifically is has certain vibrational qualities to the sounds that can tune us in a deeper level there. So yeah, so and then finally, from a nervous system perspective, when you take an inhale and your exhale is long and you're chanting something, then not only is your exhale twice as long as your inhale or longer than your inhale, so which that triggers the vagus nerve and it's relaxing, engages the parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest. And then also when you're chanting, when you're making noise, you're stimulating pharyngeal, laryngeal, all of those nerves back there that the vagus nerve has a high communication with. And so, vagus nerve, again, is the nerve that's responsible for switching our nervous system to parasympathetic engagement or a state of rest and digest. So, just some explanations around chanting and I'll oftentimes explain what the Sanskrit words mean. So, and if you ever have a question, you can always ask me, but I'm pretty good about explaining it because if I were you, I wouldn't want to chant something that I didn't know what it meant. So, but and yet I've heard different yoga teachers that would do that. So that seems a little odd and not very safe to my nervous system. So anyway, so just some science and some elucidation around chanting and why I do it. Not to mention the focus and the concentration, and that it's engaging all of these limbs of yoga. So the breath is pranayama. It's the third limb of yoga, or excuse me, the fourth limb of yoga. Anyway, it doesn't much matter; they're not linear. But the pranayama, the breath, and this expansion of life force energy that we use, and then just put voice to. So it's pranayama, it's concentration on one mantra. So that's dharana, it's a meditation, dharayana. So it's these three limbs of yoga, and if you're chanting and meditating long enough, then you get into samadhi. So it really is a beautiful yogic practice, and just a little quick nothing can be quick with me, right? I want to bring in Nada Yoga, which is yoga around surrounding sound, and there's these four layers of sound or levels of sound. One is this audible noise that we can hear. The next is a whisper. So the next is a whisper. The next layer in is the mental sounds we hear, the mental chatter, and then the fourth is called anahata, the unstruck sound. And the nada yogis would plug their ears and just simply listen, be still and listen to sounds in the right ear, because that is because the language center is in the left side of the brain. Anyway, it's you're listening for sounds. These sounds can be like chimes or gongs or drum beats or ocean waves, tingsha's bells. So anyway, just that aside, that aside, my point to bringing that in is that oftentimes I have what's called bad cable, and I'll just have these random songs that come into my head that I may not want to be thinking about Dire Straits or singing, any of their songs. And yet I do believe that sometimes songs communicate with us, our angels communicating, and if you have a relationship with a certain song with this specific person. That maybe just be the little universe nudging you to like, hey, go talk to that person or call them up or, ping them or whatever. So, but I use mantra to, when I become mindful and notice that my bad cable has tuned into a song that I don't especially want or appreciate or want to direct my energy towards. So I have a couple of mantras that I'll just sort of plug in, or I'll just sort of listen to what mantra feels right for me in that moment. And so anyhow, that's what I'll replace that third layer of sound with, that mental hearing. I'll just replace it with mantra. So those are my thoughts about mantra and chanting in general, and I hope you found this helpful. Thanks. Take care. Until next time.